What is crack-a-lackin'? Happy day for you, do happy listeners and viewers out there. Got some really cool stuff we're going to dig in today. And I don't know if you've ever been in a place like I was at this morning. And this is the place where you're supposed to be starting your day with juice and with fire and all amped up. But you're not. You're low. There's something inside of you that says, I could be better, I could do better. Maybe there's a sense of guilt. Maybe there is just something kind of running in the background that's stopping you from feeling your highest level of confidence. You ever been there? Are you there right now? I'm going to dig into that, and at least one form of that I think is valuable instruction that's coming from you to you. And I would the two key words, congruence, or I would rather say incongruence and interference. Incongruence and interference. When I was a kid, a long time ago, we used to have radios that you'd tune in the little radio dial, and you had to get it right at the right place to get the station you wanted. You wanted to be in the right place to receive the right message, and that's what we did. And the interesting thing is that if you weren't really close or the signal wasn't particularly strong, what would happen is you can get sometimes two signals, where it's like a half of one song and it goes over to another, or there's someone talking over your music, and it was really quite annoying. Those of you who are digital with everything, listen, you have no idea of the struggle, except maybe you do, because that's what we can become like as we transition, as we evolve, as we become a higher version of ourselves. And I'm not saying that we're climbing a ladder or anything like that, but I believe that our journey, if we're doing this thing towards intention and towards purpose, is going to have us constantly changing and becoming something a little bit new, right? There was that shell that built up around you in Florida. We have cicadas, and sometimes you'll find what looks like a dead bug. But when you get close, it actually is the shell of a cicada, where the insect, beautiful insect that makes annoying noises, grew out of its exoskeleton. So it busted through the old one, and it became something new. All of us on our journey, as we're becoming what we're becoming, unless we are already that, unless you have everything that you want, unless you are exactly the person you wanted to be right now every day, there's going to be a growth. And that growth is always going to be competing against what we were. And so therefore, there are two things that can happen here. We can have one thing that is, we can have an interference of who we were competing against who we want to be. And out of those two, only one will live. We can also have competition between who we think we are and other stories. And again, just like with the radio dial, only one of those is going to win. Or even worse, if we go back and forth from one to the other, it robs us of consistency. And consistency is the key for us to arriving at any destination. Can you imagine if you set I've done this before, right? Where you set your GPS to a certain thing, and then it's rerouting you, and you're rerouting you, and you're rerouting you. It happens sometimes, but if you kept changing your destination or the way that you wanted to get there, it would take you a lot longer in the best case, or you may never arrive at where you were going. And so I woke up. It's been like kind of a week of just me, like some competing signals going on here. And when when I look at that for myself, and when I help other people look at that, the idea is like, okay, time out. Like you're feeling a little bit lower. It doesn't mean that like just because you're not feeling happy and peppy and up, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I believe that reflection comes from those down moments. And if there's something, so some of the feelings that I was feeling, I had to evaluate. And so I'm going to talk about how to get rid of that interference and then move towards clarity so that you can embrace confidence. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence allows you to move with purpose. But if you're always like, you're spinning out. You are spinning out. So some of the things that I've been feeling this week, and listen, there's some major whammies that have come at me. There have been business changes, and there's a growth that I'll share with you, kind of an aspirational I am that I'm moving towards. And in the midst of that, so let's just go with business. In the midst of that, two people that I didn't spot the good timing of their transition. Two people were ready to transition out of my program, which is like, I pride myself on bringing people to a point and letting them out. But maybe I had a little bit of a lightning bug syndrome here, because these two people I loved. I loved spending time with them, which is like it is with all of my clients. Otherwise, I don't work with them. But I didn't necessarily see the off-ramp coming as well as I should have. And so two people simultaneously, boom, boom, they're like, hey, time to get out. Hey, time to get out. And for me, first off, philosophically, perfect. That should happen. But emotionally, it was like, but I like you. I wanted to be like, it's like, why are you running away? There was a little bit of that thing of where it feels like you're losing. And I wasn't, but that was an immediate translation. So I had that going on in business immediately, like right around the same time, maybe just before, maybe just after. Someone who's dear to me reveals that they are going through cancer in multiple places. And as much as I know that I can't pick up this person's fight or this battle or tell them what to want or what to do or all of those things, a part of that, it bleeds into you. And one thing, it's interesting because dominoes can sometimes fall, and if we're not looking, unrelated things can pop up as symptoms to feeling really a sense of insecurity from the truth is, I'm lacking control. I was lacking control. I wasn't in a place of flow. Wasn't in a place of seeing these things as positive. There were a couple of other things that just kind of came at me. And some of the questions that I was asking myself, right, days later was, man, can I be a better dad? I think I could be better at being a dad. Oh my gosh, I should be so much better at how I treat and help my clients. Oh my gosh. So it was all of these things where I just felt almost like this overwhelming feeling of guilt and condemnation of all of the things that I could be doing better as a dad, as a husband, as a business owner, as someone who's leading my clients, all of those things. And that's where you got to call a little bit of a timeout. So I'm sharing a little bit of my avalanche moment because you maybe have experienced that yourself. And sometimes if we're not careful, we can kind of get stuck in that and kind of become overwhelmed and overcome. And I think the one thing is that I definitely love the fact that I'm connected to the one who overcame the world over all of these troubles. Like, they're not troubles unless I perceive them as troubles. Those things pulled me out of the moment. And so here are some things that I did for myself to bring myself through that. And I'm thinking, maybe this works for you. So again, interference and incongruence. And here I am, I'm saying, okay, well, let's go through a list of all of these things. First off, I'm starting from the place of I am not afraid. I cannot be afraid. So if I can look at these things like I'm like just being real. If I can look at these things and just be very honest, I can and know that I can walk out of the room alive. That's the first place. And so it's laying those things out there of like, okay, can I be better at, and I went through the list, right, as being, leading my clients, and for whatever reason that even bubbled up even above some of these other areas, of being a great, in this relationship or that relationship, of being a better dad, of educating my children because we carry that weight of all of these things. And the question was, could I be better? And almost always, yes. Like, it's like, yes, okay, so solid yes is going down there. So there is some truth maybe to this angst and the feeling that I was feeling. But then the question comes is like, okay, am I sucking at these things? Like, what am I sucking at? Is it any of these things that I suck at? And the reality was, and this is kind of the differentiator of where you can go and where I went. And the question is this true? Or is that just how I feel? Is it true, or is it how I feel? And then the third question is, what do I believe? Man, I'm sucking as a dad. Is that true? No. Okay. Is that just what I was feeling? Yeah, I was just feeling that. Okay, why was I feeling that? Who knows? Like, there's a variety of circumstances. Then what do I believe? And what do I believe? This is where we get to pivot now into what's true now, but also what you're becoming. This is where we kind of get to crack out of that shell, where we come out of the cocoon and we say, I am this. I'm pulling off my Clark Kent suit, and I'm stepping into that Superman. And I believe that, first off, like, we are all new creations because we're connected with what I call the Christ. This is the God in us. We're new. So if you're new, then there's a different level than, it's not just what is perceived or felt or any of those things. So now what is that? So aspirationally, so here are some questions. I'm literally walking back on the beach, like, as I'm kind of going through this little checklist, I'm saying, well, first off, I am adventurous. Is that true? And that, like, so now I'm pivoting towards the things of where I said I'm adventurous. Is that true? And I'm walking in the morning after sunrise with fins in my hand and a pair of goggles by my sons who are surfing in the water and filming it. And I'm looking and say, okay, well, yeah, this proves to me that I'm adventurous, right? What else am I? Well, I'm full of joy. Okay, well, I don't feel joy. Well, can I feel joy for this moment? Yeah, I can feel. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can see the sun. I can see. I feel joy. What else? Well, I'm peaceful. What else? And so I start going through these aspirational things. Am I a good dad? Look at what my boys are doing. Okay. Does that tell me that I'm a good dad or a bad dad? Okay. I'm a good dad. I'm going through those things, and I would say, and this is just, again, something that's helped me and helped others, is like, when you're feeling something, when you're feeling just like that interference, the question is it true, or is it just how I'm feeling? And then the next question is, well, what do I believe? and going from there and stepping into that aspirational self. And I do that through I ams. And sometimes we need a little extra dose of belief. And according to my faith tradition, faith comes from hearing. And so if I were to take now my I am statements, these things that I'm saying that I am, I could now say it like I believe it. I'm adventurous. Not I'm adventurous, oh ho hum, maybe, Eeyore, not that it matters. No, I'm joyful. I'm the most joyful man I know. I'm joyful. At least for like this 5 seconds, I'm going to be joyful. But digging in and going there, and it seems that these things, when repeated, are very helpful. Now, those are things that are like it surfaces, and I feel like that like those down moments can surface those things, and we should actually pay attention to when we're feeling like a little bit slower, a little bit lower, a little bit down. Like that's actually instructing us that something inside of us is not solid. Take a moment, slow down, solidify. Now, it made me think, and as I'm writing down. By the way, I plan my day from these things. So this is my plan, and these 3 things. By the way, so I chose 3 things, my big 3. And so, other than coaching, I've got some really cool people I get to coach. I'm so thankful for. They're so cool. The 3 things that are going to make me feel like. So now I'm actually going to utilize feelings to my benefit. But the things that can make me feel like what I'm saying are true is I do this podcast. Look, I'm doing it. I feel like something good's happening here. My book is complete and closed. So I've actually submitted it. It's El Dono and that. So that's going to make me feel amazing. And then my team is in sync. So I work with my 2 sons. They do the media that you see and that maybe you don't see, and syncing up with them, and that's an important thing. So those 3 things make me feel like, first off, there's a big I am that it's hiding behind this map here on my whiteboard, and it says that I'm the most trusted and sought after voice on helping people find purpose and create a plan to pursue that purpose joyfully. Like, I want to be the most sought after voice in doing that. Having a book closed makes me feel like that guy. Doing a podcast makes me feel like that guy. And a couple of the other things that I have is just like, so like that my business brings me peace. So syncing with my team makes me feel like that's true. See, we're always looking for evidence, and we're either confirming our story inside and we keep it. If we confirm it, we keep it, or we are denying it, right? In front of a court of law, the judge and jury all sit right here in our own mind. And if we present evidence that's contrary to what we say we are or want to be, it gets convicted, I guess, in the bad way. Some of the things that I thought through as I was going here, though, had to do also with another competing story. And so just a slight page turn, because I can turn pages. I'm allowed to do that. Is I think fear is a competing story. And so like this, like you believe one thing to be true, right? I believe this to be true. I believe there's abundance. I believe I'm growing. And then fear says, oh, you're losing. No one likes you. You're alone. They're going to think you're stupid. And so it causes a divergence in thought. When your thoughts are diverged, you will be not very powerful. It's almost like someone who's driving, and they say that most accidents, at least I remember this as a young driver, most accidents are caused by people who hesitate, right? So that divergent thought brings hesitation. Even if you were fully committed to the fear thought, at least you have only one path of action. But if you keep jumping back and forth from faith to fear, from belief to fear, what happens is you end up going nowhere, and you, in the case of a young driver, you get hit. It's not good. In order to block out, it's almost like yellow light, right? You're coming up to a yellow light, and you sense that there could be danger. You sense this fear thing kind of coming up. And what do? Do you slow down? Do you hesitate? Nope, that's where you get hit. You hit the gas, right? You hit the gas. That's what my grandma always did. Hit the gas so you can get through even quicker. So you commit. Once you commit, you go. That's the place of strength. There was another competing story I remember so clearly. I was working at a company, and there happened to be, I was sitting amongst my peers. There were like a couple hundred of us sitting, and we were watching a guy up there speaking, and a lot of us were eye rolling, and a lot of us were like, oh, he thinks he's all that. And one of the things, there were two things that were going on simultaneously, but it was one, there was a jealousy that I didn't even realize that was there. But the other one was a story that I was telling myself that ended up not being helpful. And the story was like, oh, I don't ever want to be like him. I don't want to be thought of like him. And whatever the things were, I was basically judging this guy. And so that judgment and that jealousy really were key. I believe those were a couple of key ingredients that were keeping me from something that I really actually truly wanted, which was the stage. I wanted to share my story. I wanted people to validate me and say, yes, we want to hear from you. That's why I do podcasts and things like that, right? I wanted that. But instead, like that internal story that I internalized, saying I don't want to be like that guy that I was judging, it was almost like my internal self was like, okay, yeah, we're going to avoid that. We're going to stay away from that. So let's not perform so well that we could ever be put up on stage, because we don't want people to think of you that way. We don't want anyone to misunderstand you. So my pride was I wanted to be in control of my story and what other people thought of me. Which, can any of us really do that? I don't think so. So there's another one, right? I'm talking through this with my coach right now, and it is the idea of self-promotion, and that's something that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Supposedly, I want to be the world's most sought-after voice and purpose, and helping people to create a plan from that to joyfully walk after. Supposedly, well, but why do I have such a hard time promoting myself? It's competing against a story that I'm telling myself internally of I am genuine. Therefore, I don't need to be an attention hog. I don't need to bang my own drum. I don't. And by the way, right now, like, genuine is totally winning. I don't know. Like, that's to be continued with that. But it's just I wanted to bring to the forefront just the idea that you may have competing stories, and if we're living intentionally, here's what we're doing, and I'm going to end it here. We're saying I am what? I'm these things that I was created to be. I want. You can even start with, if you don't know who you want to be, you can say, well, here's what I want. Okay? What are the things that you want? What are the scenarios that you want? What do you want? That requires you to be someone. So now you can say, I am this person. Anything that is a story that gets in the way of that should be up for we should be able to delete that file. But we have to look deeply into ourselves and say, is there something that, from the way I grew up, or what I believe about money, or what I believe about relationships, that gets in my way of what I say I want? Is there something that's behaving contrary? So when I go into my daily schedule, that's why it's important for me to give a time to those things I call them intentions. I intend to do these things. And then I say about those intentions, I am an author. That's why I'm completing my book. So it starts from I am, or I want. I want to be perceived as an expert. So I'm completing a podcast, right? Or so we go from I am. We say, well, if I am this, then I would do this. And then we just need to figure out a time to do it. But if you see things that get in your way, and emotions are a key indicator. If you're finding emotions are getting in your way, if you're stopping yourself, get someone, get a friend, get someone to put your brains on a table to help you out with that. I spend a lot of time with my brains on a table. And anyway, I hope this helps you to own your I am. And I hope that the next time things kind of start moving in a way that just doesn't feel like you've got all this power and momentum, that you're slowing down long enough to take a look and do the diagnostic. And we're not just accepting whatever story or emotion is playing in our brain. You are no longer surviving. You are thriving, my friend. You are freaking awesome and amazing and powerful. And when you release those unique things that are inside of you, you are uncopyable. And you have something that all of us need. So go out there and find a way to release it, even if it's in a small way. Find someone to serve, find someone to give this to. And I hope that in some way we have served you on the Do Happy podcast today. See you on the next one. Bye.